This is the second video for your terminology packet, and we're going to talk about the order of operations. Up at the top of your page, we have the order of operations listed. First, you would simplify using parentheses. Whatever is in parentheses, you do first. Second, you would simplify any exponents. Third, you would do either multiplication or division. And then finally, fourth, you would then do any addition or subtraction. So let's look at some examples below. So using order of operations, we're going to simplify each of the examples in the far left. In this column here, these are all correct ways of simplifying. Well, the ones on the right side, these are all wrong. So make sure you notice these answers are wrong. That's why they have little cross-throughs, strike-throughs. So this first example, we have addition and we have multiplication. Multiplication is before addition. So you first multiply 4 times 5. And then after you multiply 4 times 5, you can go ahead and add the 3 and 20 to get 23. In the example over here, we added first to get 7, which is actually incorrect. You cannot add first, so that is wrong. Now, if your problem had parentheses, this example, the 3 plus 4 is in parentheses, then we could do parentheses first, and that's when you do your addition. So after you add 3 plus 4, then you can multiply 7 times 5. In the other example, when they have parentheses, they multiplied first, and they only multiplied 4 times 5 to get 20. They did not distribute the 5 times 3. If you wanted to do multiplication first, you would have to use the distributive property. If you don't distribute 5 times 3, then it's not going to be correct. Third example, we have multiplication and addition. We have multiplication there, addition here. Very similar to the first problem. The order is just reversed, but that does not matter. You still have to do multiplication first, which is 2 times 3, and then you can do your addition, which is 6 plus 4. You cannot add first unless it is in parentheses. So here's what the example looks like when we have parentheses. So next we have 3 plus 4 in parentheses, which means we can add first. That's what's in parentheses. Then after you add the 3 and 4, you can then multiply 2 times 7 to get 14. Over here, you can tell they multiplied 2 times 3 to get 6, but they did not multiply 2 times 4. You have to distribute 2 times 4 if you wanted to multiply first. Last example, here we have both addition and subtraction. So you typically want to do your addition and subtraction from left to right. So we're going to first subtract 12 minus 4. That gives us 8. Then we want to add after that. 8 plus 5 gives us 13. The common mistake students make is if they do addition first, they see this as 4 plus 5. And that gives them 9. But this is not a 4. This is a negative 4. So if you were to add first and pay attention to that coefficient, it's got to be negative 4 plus 5. Use a little bit lighter color, a little too dark. Negative 4 plus 5, that's how you get 1. Then if you add 12 and 1, you will get the correct answer, which is 13. Same as above. All right. So an expression is going to be any combination of numbers, variables, and operations. So that's why it's important to know the order of operations if you have to simplify an expression. A term, when we talk about terms, are products of numbers and or variables. So product means multiplication. Product means multiplication of numbers and or variables. So 3x is a product of 3 times x. That's a term. 5 times x squared. That's 5 times x times x. That's another different term. And when you have different terms, they're going to be separated by addition or subtraction. So it would look like this: 3x plus 5x squared minus 2y plus 4. And that's why it says or variables. It doesn't have to have a variable. That one does not have a variable. This is what we talked about when we have a constant, where these are terms that have coefficients in front of the variable. That would be your coefficient, -2. Here the coefficient's 5. Here the coefficient is 3. So let's look at some expressions and just identify the different terms. So here, this expression, the first term is 3x squared. The second term is a -4x. And then our third term is this +5. So you can see how these terms are all separated by addition and subtraction. The next expression, you can see we have a -x cubed and a 6x squared. Those are your two terms. And then down here, we have a 7x to the 5th, a -x squared, and a +6x. Those are your 1, 2, 3 different terms. Sometimes you might have like terms. Like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. So let's look at a couple examples. Here we have 3x and 4x. Same variable, same exponent. You don't see an exponent. That's because they're both 1s. So the like terms are 3x and 4x. Well, you can actually combine these. 3x is the same as x plus x plus x. 4x is the same as x plus x plus x plus x. So if I were to add these two together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total x's. You can combine like terms. Here, the next problem, we have 5x squared, and you are subtracting 2x squared. Notice that these are like terms. They both have an x squared, same variable and exponent. So 5 minus 2 gives you 3x squared. Those are your like terms. Sometimes you have an expression where the terms are not like terms. Here, you have an x, but the next one does not have an x. That means they're not like terms. There are no like terms in this expression. So if you can't combine these, then they stay separate. 7x plus 6 would remain separate. So we call it a polynomial when you have a sum or difference of terms. So when you have any number of terms and they're separated by addition or subtraction. If there is just one term, we call it a monomial. Mono is the same as 1. Think of a bicycle. A binomial has 2 wheels, right? So bi equals 2, which means it's going to have 2 terms. And then yes, tri means 3. So that's going to have 3 terms. So here are some examples that have 1, 2, and 3 terms. These are all monomials. 1 term, 1 term, 1 term. Well, these ones each have 2 terms. 1, 2 terms. 1, 2 terms. And then down below, these are trinomials because they have 1, 2, and 3 terms for all of these. 3 separate terms. So that is what we call it when we name it based on the number of terms. These are your names. These are names based on the number of terms. So I'll write that on your paper. These are names based on the number of terms. Couple more words here. Degree. The degree is just your largest exponent of that polynomial. So you're looking at all those terms and you're looking for the largest exponent. Now, standard form, this is the proper way to write a polynomial. All like terms have been combined, and your exponents are in decreasing order, same as descending order. So if this is your expression, 6x plus 3x squared, notice these are not like terms, and your largest exponent is 2, so it needs to go first. So for this example, you would just switch the order. Put your 3x squared first, and then your 6x last. And then the largest exponent is 2, so that's your degree. A couple more examples here. The exponent of this first term is 1, because it's x to the first power. The exponent of that, there is no variable, so the exponent is 0, and this one has an exponent of 2. See it right there? So this one would go first. Your 4x squared is first, your 8x to the first power is second, and then your -7 is last because it has the smallest exponent. It actually does not have a variable. Once again, the largest exponent is 2, so that's your degree. This problem actually has a pair of like terms. 9x minus 5x is 4x, so those combine to make 4x, and then don't forget your +3 would come last. Now this one does not have an exponent of 2. This one's highest exponent is actually a 1. So that's why its degree is 1. Last example at the bottom of your page. This problem has like terms once again. We have a +7 and a +1. Those are like terms. 7 plus 1 gives you 8. That would be your smallest exponent. Your largest exponent in this example is 3, so that goes first. And then your next largest exponent is -5x. That one has an exponent of 1. But the largest is 3, so that's your degree. And the next video will go through these. So answer these questions on your own. Go through all of these, try them on your own. And then I want you to check it in the next video.